We need to divert auxiliary power to the rear deflector shield.
We definitely do.
That's pretty good.
Hey, welcome to the Spark
I
of
shouldn't
Madness.
do the opening every week because then we wouldn't have stuff like that.
That's my one. Every single one of my openings will always be airplane references.
Perfect.
I really wanted to include the. I wanted to cut back, but I ran out of time. Hey, I just want to let you know we're all counting on you.
Surely you can't be serious.
Ben, would you move your microphone?
I am serious, but don't call me Shirley. Sure, I'll move
I'm
it. Hold
also
on.
here.
Let me move the microphone. Oh, it didn't
I
work.
loved it. I loved it.
All right.
All right.
This is the Spark of Madness podcast. We're doing it live on Twitch. Hopefully people will join in this time.
Can I make a comment real quick about that opening? He says we need to divert all power to the rear deflector shield. And it's like,
Duh.
isn't that a Star Trek line? Like, isn't that
The rear deflector shield?
yeah, I think that's from Star Trek.
I don't know. They say deflector. Didn't they do that in Last Jedi? Say deflector shield?
Deflector shield is in all of the Star Wars movies.
All right, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm sure it's in Star Trek too.
Yeah.
And 3 and 4.
Thank you.
And we're all there. I'm Matt. That's Ben. And that's Aaron at the controls. We're going to be talking about
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Everything Star Wars right here for you. There
In
are
other words-
shows that what
I was going to say, in other words, the last 2 years.
pretty much. We did Rogue One
Hooky.
2 weeks ago, not last week. We did a Westworld podcast last week. 2 weeks ago, we did Rogue One, which was the first of the Star Wars stories, right?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently, I don't know how many they have in the works, but the only one I've heard after Solo is going to be
Fett.
Oh yeah, Boba Fett. Yeah, there's going to be a Boba Fett and a Lando movie.
All of that.
Yeah, another needless backstory that we don't need.
don't
It could only
know.
serve to hurt the existing lore.
That's true.
So let's just kick this off because Solo. This is the first of those. So it's a little bit different than Rogue One. We can talk about that. But Aaron, what is your overall review of the movie?
yeah, tell us, buddy.
Having seen it, which I totally have, I would say that it is very, very mediocre.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us the plot.
What kind of stood out? What scenes?
Well, see, there's the scene where Han Solo gets the Millennium Falcon, then he does the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then there's
I
probably the
remember
part where he shoots first,
Yep. Yeah.
and gosh, I was just mystified.
Well, it started out as him as a nerf herder. He herded all those nerfs, and
One day he lost his scruff.
Could you believe that Could you believe that Darth Maul was in it, Aaron?
I actually did know that.
Shoot.
Come on, what do you take me for?
can you believe that Jabba the Hutt was in it?
I don't know whether or not he was, because I've seen the movie.
You know, that's always such a vote of confidence.
I was too distracted by the beautiful visual effects.
Yes.
I'm testing.
What do you think of that robot in it?
Well, slave uprising robots is kind of stupid.
Oh my God!
You really did your
read
research.
He read the cliff notes.
I don't actually know the plot. I just know the characters.
He read the
I
cliff
didn't read the cliff notes.
He saw 5 reviews a day.
So
Aaron didn't see it.
I never suggested to you that I did see it.
Me and Matt had a bet because we saw it separately. He's like, let's see it. Because you're not the biggest Star Wars get up and go see Star Wars movie. I think you're kind of.
You're correct. I don't care.
Yes, you're Star Wars. Yeah, which
I
is-
used to care.
which is like Tommy Lee Jones saying to this movie, it's like, I'm Han Solo. I don't care.
That's exactly what it is.
I don't care.
Well, no, I used to love Star Wars, and
Me too.
now it's dead.
Yeah, I think I've hit the fatigue with you.
We were talking about this on the walk over. I'm curious why, like Aaron too. Now, the reason why you didn't see the movie, and you're talking about fatigue, like I get
think it's
the
a combination.
Sense, yeah.
Why would? Cause so in this particular Star Wars case, why didn't you want to see this movie?
Well, I told you I was going to see it.
No, but
I-
but why? Like when they announced, they're gonna make a Star Wars.
the second I heard it was happening, I said no. Please no.
Because it was Han Solo.
Because Han Solo is a character best left to the imagination.
I think you are not alone. I
Thank
think
you.
I was the same way. I don't think a lot of fans were looking forward.
And they
to a
needed to
Han
give
Solo
that
movie.
kid a prosthetic nose. He doesn't have the Harrison Ford nose.
It's too and he was nasally the way he talked, and he wasn't a scoundrel.
Harrison Ford has a big crooked nose.
Get off my plane.
Yes.
Get off my Falcon.
They had one job.
Get the nose right.
Get them.
The nose is part of the character.
What's in the nose? A nose just like any other nose.
It's boogers in there.
Little boogers.
So you said fatigue. What is that?
Well, I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
Like I think when they announced
we were
this,
talking about Marvel, and even though it's kind of there's just constant Marvel all the time, I don't get the sense that I'm the same kind of
it's a different
fatigue.
It's a different kind of fatigue.
Yeah.
So when I think they announced this movie, I was like, no, I don't want to see a Han Solo movie. I was more excited about the Rogue One because it was something different, something we didn't see before, even though it's about the plans, but it was different characters, something, and it was an anthology one-off where I was like, I don't want to see a Han Solo movie. Like no one was wanting to see that, but I also think the combination of the fans being let down
So many times.
of The Last Jedi.
Rogue One.
No, Rogue One was great. Rogue One made its money and people liked it. It's got an 85% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
What
Pretty
does
good.
Last Jedi have?
More, but that's deceptive.
Yeah, but that doesn't count because I don't agree with it.
Actually, no, the fans voted less on Last Jedi.
What did they vote on Rogue One?
I will look on it right now.
I'm interested.
I will, I'll
You-
come back. I'll
you
come back to that.
You look it up because
Okay.
I'll just say,
Yeah.
going through, I was on board with the Solo movie. I have the kind of interest in just general Star Wars movies where I will enjoy. I haven't hit that point where I'm just overwhelmed by Star Wars yet. And I think it would be I thought it would be interesting to get a little bit more of the character. I get your point that it's best left up to the imagination, but
Nothing they can do will top our imaginations for the past 30 years.
the thing though too is that this was one where there was some ambiguity, I think. I don't know if any of the Clone Wars or any of these other series that have taken off have addressed Han's background at all. So I felt like this could, and maybe I'm totally wrong. I'm sure there's nerds and stuff will go in and be like, the book, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it had been mainstream, whereas some of the other kind of stories, like Darth Maul, for instance, what
an ass.
the reason he came up is in this movie is I feel like they felt comfortable enough with the stories being told, even in an animated cartoon, to be like, yep, we'll bring him in and it won't be as random for
This
some people.
will surely save our movie.
Yeah. But I was really interested in it.
I think that's the difference that's going in. I was not.
I had low expectations for it.
Oh, I did too, and they exceeded those. Okay, all right.
12%.
All right, so here's the audience score on The Last Jedi. Last Jedi was 46% audience,
That sounds about
91% critics, whereas I think they were a little paid.
Everybody knows critics are more reliable.
Critics were 85% Star Wars Story.
Rogue One.
The audience was 87%.
You mean Rogue One?
And Rogue One. Sorry.
Oh, no, less of a disparity.
Yeah. Well,
So that suggests that it's not critics getting paid. That suggests just a difference in what fans.
Or
and Solo. Let's see what Solo has so far. It has
79.
63%
Oh.
audience score, 71% critics. So I'm right, Matt. You're wrong.
That's it. Let's quit the show.
Okay.
No, but sometimes fans can be wrong too. But I think let me talk about the
It's the children who are wrong.
well.
All right,
Steamed
Principal
hams.
Skinner.
I have a different. Yeah. Well, that's what J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy, they're telling us, like, oh no, you're wrong. You want this? Like, you're wrong. Like you didn't like Last Jedi or these movies because you hate women. No, J.J. Abrams, it's just a bad story. We don't hate women. We just want characters that have common sense. So they're alienating the fans. So they're doing the opposite of what Marvel's doing.
So are you saying that influenced you even going into it?
No, but I influence other people.
Well, I don't care about other people right now.
Yeah.
I care about you.
screw 'em.
No, but I can see, they don't know what the fans want. They're tone deaf of what the fans want.
I would say that is.
That's 100% correct.
I'd say it's 60% correct.
I think
I don't know.
61.
I think it's a moving target right now.
What do you mean a moving target?
It means it changes.
No, but fans don't want a Han Solo.
How much money did Last Jedi make and Rogue One make and Force Awakens? Like, they made a crap ton of money. That to me tells me they are at least pretty aware of like getting people to go see the movie.
But I think that doesn't matter if it was good or bad. I think slowly but surely.
Well, it was impacted with Solo.
How much money did Episode 2 make?
Solo did really bad.
Right.
in box office.
That's why that's my point I'm trying to make is that if the movie isn't as strong and people don't like it, they're not going to go. The other movies have done great, and those got rated great.
But I think you can't. The second Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi, people overwhelmingly loved The Force Awakens, which I think is okay movie, but it wasn't bad, but it was good. And then when they see Last Jedi, I think they were disappointed, and I think they're slowly I think that was the one that will set it off. Now maybe the third one will be worse than Last Jedi.
So again, this to me is it shouldn't be part of the conversation to me, and especially for movies that have no relationship to each other story wise. Like to me,
no, but like
you shouldn't be like, I hated Last Jedi was the I finally see that there's faults and these things aren't perfect, and I really hated it, and I hated how other people loved it when there's so many things that are obviously wrong. No. And then be like, this wasn't as great a movie, and then it leads you into Solo being like, Star Wars sucks now. It shouldn't do that.
No, it didn't. But what I'm saying is, they're creating enemies with the fans. You mean, and you can see the direction they're going overall, where they're playing it safe. Other than Last Jedi, which
and that's the one everyone hated.
But it was the wrong risk. It was dumb. It was like it was like you could take a risk, but it was just like it wasn't a risk of like this. It's a risk of bad writing. You mean it was just bad writing.
It felt like a risk coin that they flipped.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to try to tell this story. No, I'm going to not make sense of logic. In characters.
Well, we could go on and on about. We already did a whole podcast on Last Jedi.
But it's true. But you have
people don't forget.
No, but you have to admit though, the fans.
Does that have a relevance to this movie? Yes or no?
It does.
Why?
It does because people want to make a point. People don't want the crap they're feeding them.
Okay, and that's why my argument is that doesn't matter to me. I don't care about what they did before. I want to talk about the Solo movie.
But what they did before is the overall arc and stuff they're making now of these movies. They're changing the lore of Star Wars, not from. They're leaving the mythology. They're leaving that all behind, and it doesn't even matter anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, a prequel inherently explains mythology. It's going to go and tell those stories that were kind of referenced in the past. It's going to give you that more information.
No, and I'm not talking about Solo as a movie by itself. I don't know. It just. Well, let's just talk about Solo.
We got a bad taste in our mouth, man.
Well, I guess that's what I'm trying to clarify. Do you have a bad taste, and so that's coloring this movie?
Hell no.
Okay, so talk about this movie. What is your overall kind of take from it?
This thing is I enjoyed the ride. I think I'm looking at these movies now as rides rather than, well, like you enjoy a ride, but like I will not remember anything after this movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. None of the jokes landed at all. I started to enjoy it more. At some point, as I did. I was like, it's not Han Solo. It's just some other guy. And I started enjoying it from his perspective as another guy instead of like, oh, Han Solo wouldn't do that. Taking me out of it. So I think he was playing another character that I enjoyed. I believed his other character, but I didn't believe he was Han Solo.
Well, why not?
Sometimes it's just a gut feeling.
One, he doesn't have the charisma as Harrison Ford. He wasn't a scoundrel at all. At all. Zero scoundrel. He didn't yell. He wasn't snarky or sarcastic. He was just not Han Solo. He was. He didn't take over the room.
I didn't even see the movie. I was going to say that.
I disagree, actually, which is kind of surprising because I was extremely pessimistic about I forget the guy's name. I feel really bad.
Yeah, point proven. Well, his name.
Well, okay. What's the actress from Rogue One's name?
I don't know.
British lady.
Okay. It's like an AE name. I forget.
Yeah, I know.
It's not Ansel Elgort. That was I feel
Something
really
Reich.
It's Elgor Ansel.
Yeah, like M Reich or something.
Yeah.
I thought the movie started pretty poorly from a Han Solo perspective as a character, and him. And
Let me guess.
Those early scenes were bad, but I thought it picked up steam as we started. He got much more comfortable.
You thought he was very charismatic?
I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was pretty good.
But
Why?
very
How?
charismatic.
Defend yourself. Like, seriously,
Pick up thy sword,
you just
Dave.
can't say that and then move
Why?
on.
You just said I didn't think he was charismatic and gave no.
Well-
Your whole point was his nose didn't look right. So I mean,
That was his point.
That is my point.
No, I gave points.
you
my
said he
point,
couldn't handle the room, and I say I think he can handle the room.
He wasn't charismatic. He didn't shout. He wasn't a scoundrel. I said all these things.
Oh well, I think that's why I'm saying the early writing kind of sets him up to fail, which we can talk about that a little bit. I have issues with that. I thought him as a performer, though. I don't think it was him as a performer. I think it was some of the like writing decisions.
Yeah, but I even think he didn't like. Okay, here's an example, and he actually could have played a good Han Solo too.
Yeah, I don't have complete lack of faith.
No, but this is someone else I'm talking about. Star Trek. Chris Pine. Chris Pine didn't play it exactly like William Shatner, but he made it his own, and he was so charismatic. He took over the room, and I believe it, and it was fine. I actually think Chris Pine would have been a better Han Solo choice. You needed someone like that.
Chris Pine is an amazing
Well, he's
actor.
charming.
With a nose.
With a nose and a chin. But this guy had a chin too. But I think Chris Pine, you needed someone like that. The gravitas to carry the room. I don't think Harrison Ford can do that anymore. Like Harrison Ford can't be Harrison Ford anymore. Because he was at a time when he's just smooth. He was smooth.
I mean, I really did think this guy was fine. He was not my problems with the movie. I thought he really hit his stride, especially once he started to interact with Chewie and he came in. I thought it was really good. There was the joke, and I know this is the only joke I can really call off from memory, was when he and Chewie are taking a shower together. I thought that was a pretty funny scene.
I actually did like, the one thing I did like is him talking to Chewie in Chewie language.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was the original director's
and he
choice.
did some like kind of funny eye, like bulgy eye work, like making funny faces.
That was one of the funny concepts.
So I thought he was pretty good. I thought the scenes with like kind of the gambling, as well as when he's he's getting the opportunity to fly, and just his like enthusiasm to be the pilot in these given scenes. I thought that came through pretty well. I mean, he's a different character than he was later. He's a little bit less grizzled because he's 20 years old versus 40 years old.
Yeah, but there has to be a hint of snarky and sarcasm to begin with.
Right, and that's why...
And not trustworthy.
To me, I think he performed the character as written. I don't think it was his fault. I think the character...
I'm with you on that.
The character as written failed to set him up with this like really crappy past where he's really got to scrap along and he's doing things that are not super great. In this, it was just like, hey, he's kind of implied that he's a scoundrel, but he's really doing good things. See, he's actually kind of a good guy all along the way. And so that's where I feel like it kind of failed to give him, like, we only hear it through, which I thought was kind of cool to get this kind of back lore for him, is like hearing about his dad and how he was like a salt of the earth, like he made the ships, and that's where it came from. And then, like, he starts as a child slave basically, but immediately escapes.
But wouldn't that be cooler to see?
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Yeah,
wouldn't that be cooler to see than a chase scene?
Yeah,
like
they really just kick it off with that weird centipede. Madam,
which I didn't mind. I liked it.
I didn't like this. I loved the turn to the sunlight. That was cool.
But I didn't like the voice.
No, I didn't like that.
It sounded
at all.
like what's her name from The Simpsons and like Futurama.
Agnes, like an Agnes character.
Yeah. You gotta turn the kajigger.
Yes, McNeil. Yeah,
it was omnipresent.
Yeah, the crazy cat lady.
Yeah.
Seymour, get back to work.
I think exactly what it's saying. And like, how can a slug thing never mind. Yeah, with a hut. How can a centipede thing that can only come out at night and being water control you.
I really think
You know,
like
it's like get away from him.
So
Go
I
outside.
know I had like a major qualm with Rogue One where I wish they did more. Like I think I just default to liking movies, especially ones that are in like solo shots. Boom, nailed it. But like single movies that are kind of self-contained, where you get kind of like a more overarching story over a longer period of time, and you can kind of see, even if it's through montage, even you can see a development. Like it's kind of cheating.
There was no montage.
It's kind of cheating, but
kind of.
The thing about Solo, I actually liked that they had fewer scenes there and much longer. I liked that, but when it comes to like developing a character, especially a prequel around one character, I feel like you got to start earlier and you got to give us more. And like we barely, I didn't even really make the connection that
Jake Lloyd was 7, right?
Yeah. I didn't even make the connection that the syndicate that was enslaving these kids. I mean, I think it was in the first scroll or whatever.
It was going too fast.
But I didn't make the connection that was the same one that Kira joined later.
Yeah.
I think that was true.
I guess.
But like I didn't know what the thread was, and I feel like that should have been way more important.
And their love connection wasn't real. Their chemistry was terrible.
No, it was, and it was just kind of forced at the very start.
And she wasn't very good in this.
What do you think? I didn't go see the last Terminator movie.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't as bad as I thought, but her character was bad.
She should
Her
stick
character
to
was
dragons.
not good. Her character was not good. They didn't give her anything.
No,
She was supposed to be like a bat. She should have been even more like kind of
ruthless.
Battered and broken almost to like be in the spot that she's
Yeah.
now working for them. And we should have seen the screw loose, and we should have gotten more of that development. But like they really just rushed into it, and they wanted to go boo 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 scene to scene. Not from scene to scene because they let it breathe, but they wanted to get to the action-y stuff.
Before you and I rip it apart, because obviously Aaron really can't rip it apart.
Oh, I can try.
Did you have some cheese today? Don't rip it apart. Let's talk about the things we like. Because there's things I
The
like.
casting of Lando was great.
It was, but he was kind of doing an impression.
Heaven forbid.
I'm not gonna get on board with that one.
It's either he's not doing the character or he's doing an impression.
Yeah, I mean, he did a pretty good job. He did a pretty good job, I thought.
He did, but like you said, it's probably the writing that just didn't.
I
go
can't
anywhere.
speak to the performance, but the look was right.
Yeah,
and the fact the details of his capes and stuff like that was kind of cool. That was funny to have that. I thought
there was one little thing that I loved a lot. Very clever, was when he was running away. The first scene, he's on the other side of the doors trying to hide, which is stupid. Like, I'm gonna hide in the corner, even though they can see me. Mm-hmm. But he thought it was going to join the Empire, which is true in the books. He joins the Empire and becomes a pilot, and he leaves and gets kicked out. But he sees like the propaganda like video of join the Empire, and you hear this music playing. It's the Imperial March.
Yeah.
In major. So it's like positive.
Wow.
And it was like, that's brilliant.
That's the most clever thing I've heard of Star Wars in years.
So you're talking about Han, though. I thought you were talking about Lando.
I'm talking about Han. I'm talking about the movie.
Okay.
The little parts,
Yeah.
just in general. And like he joins that.
That little music bit is the most clever thing I've heard of Star Wars in years.
It was good. It was great. And it was real subtle. However, I do notice today, this is something else. In mix of movies lately, when it comes to sound and music, they're not doing a good job of mixing the music with the sound. And I think music should be first before the sound in terms of importance, because you lose some really good nuggets of things. And very few directors now know how to
It's a very delicate balance.
It is. But I think audiences rather hear a really good musical score than a cool sound effect.
Why do you think music videos are so popular?
Yeah. But I think there were some good pieces here that were overshadowed by sound effects. Well, like Justice League was like that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't bother me.
Well, you don't care about music like me.
No, I don't.
And I'm a mixer, so I care a lot.
Yeah, but I think that in general is made movies not very good in terms of memorable.
So these are things that you liked, huh?
Well, we're just on it. Yeah. Okay. I also liked. I like, even though I don't think it makes sense, I like the visual of the train. It doesn't make sense, but I like the idea of them doing a train heist.
No, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
The train heist, and I like the fact that they did a train heist and a prison riot kind of movie or scenes in the same movie.
That's very
I like
Han
that
Solo.
stuff. Yeah,
I like
that
the,
felt on brand.
I liked him in the trenches. That was pretty cool. Like the very first, showing how like
that was all right. Yeah, that was good.
I liked.
I thought the Empire stuff, him in the Empire, was really rushed through. Like,
I didn't think
they either should have explored it a little bit more,
You're
or
right.
they should have done something else to have him join up with that little group.
Was Woody Harrelson any good?
Yeah.
Wasted.
I loved Woody. I was about to talk about him.
I did, but
I thought he was great.
I did, but he's not a memorable character.
Oh, I totally disagree. I loved Woody's
Did you
character.
really?
Yeah, I did.
It was great.
Oh,
I just want the power converters.
you can waste time with your friends when your chores are done.
Space. Somebody. Brandon says space western +1. Yeah, I thought the when it cut. I forgot about the Empire part. The reason they did
Space
that.
Western +1. What does he mean by
Like
that?
the idea that there's space western
He's
out.
plus
the
one in-
train thing.
Yeah.
It feels like a western.
Well, they did that before in another franchise that was better.
Oh,
Firefly.
I knew it.
No, yeah, I feel like you're going to trigger Brandon here.
Yeah, I love.
I forgot that the part that I did like about him joining the Empire, like that could have opened up more things to explore.
Yeah.
But it felt rushed. But I did like that Chewie and him kind of met up via.
Yeah.
They were both kind of trapped or felt like they had to join up,
But
and
it
they
was-
just wanted to get out of
But
there.
it was so like you choreographed that right away. Like, feed him
Yeah.
to the beast. You know.
It was, I liked the suspense of that scene
Yeah.
and then them getting
It was
away.
funny.
It probably could have been better given how they kind of pushed through it, but I don't know.
Is this the same actor who's playing Chewie now? Because he looked a little shorter.
I don't know.
But it wouldn't make sense for him to be shorter because he's 400 years old or something like that.
He says 190. They even did
Yeah,
a joke about
yeah.
it. Well, you're 190. You look great. I thought they did a good job making Chewie kind of like athletic, strong guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could kick ass a little
He
bit.
looked really good.
Rather
They
than
didn't re-
like the one
they
thing
did
they
really
didn't
good.
answer was that he didn't have his bow staff in this, which is kind of
No.
cool. Like that is
which
still yet to.
Which they're like want to make more Han Solo movies that no one wants to see.
You went to see it,
No, but I'll see it because it's a ride, kind of a ride.
and that's how they make their ticket sales. You have to
Exactly.
go see it because
Yeah.
it's an American institution.
Yeah. Well,
Yay.
I mean, consumerism.
USA.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job with Chewie in the movie overall.
I think
showing
it's the
that
best
he was
part.
a good pilot, showing that he was going to go back and help the prisoners versus continue them. Like he had a line where he's an independently thinking character, and they did a good job showing their kind of partnership.
I think he was the best part. I think I wish wanted more of that. I think
That was something they absolutely needed to land too. This was like a core part of the story, and they did a good job.
they
with that.
landed
Yeah.
it. Yeah, they did.
Ha.
But I think it would have been more. I think it would have been better if they had more moments alone before they met up with the other guys.
Yeah, this is where I'm
You know-
kind of going with the Empire. Like, I kind of wish they would have met in a bar or something. Or,
Well, maybe
like
met-
really embrace this
Maybe-
bar
maybe-
space
fight.
western.
Maybe
yeah.
maybe
a bar fight. Yeah,
but
like they're standing up against stormtroopers or something.
How cool would it be if you made a more serious tone of like Harrison or Han Solo joins the Empire, but like starts to like I really like it. You know what I mean? He starts to like it, but then he sees Chewie being abused, and that was like his triggering point of changing himself, and he saves Chewie.
Yeah.
and he escapes, and that's the turning point. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the
That
Empire
would've been beautiful.
The Empire
That would've-
dynamic really didn't come in.
It was
at all.
secondary,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I think maybe that's a cool thing. He was, like a lot of times, you have in modern day people who join the military have nothing else. You mean they live on the street, like they're going, and this is something that helps them, the discipline.
Yeah.
And maybe you could explore a story where he joins the Empire for that reason.
Sure.
And then he starts to believe like you could have done like some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I think they missed some opportunities.
Well, they prioritized getting to the train heist and getting to the next one, and then introducing the syndicate with Paul Bettany, which was also kind of weak. That I thought his role in the movie was pretty bad.
Villain of the week.
Like I think
Now
he was
follow
in
my
literally
orders.
2 scenes.
Yeah,
it was like
that's it.
2. I was like, whoa, and he didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But I really did like his little the initial team, like with Westworld, Tandy Newton.
Yeah, and they kill him off
the
so
pilot
quick.
and the little pilot guy. I thought he was really good.
Do you know who was it? You know who was the voice of that?
No.
It was Jon Favreau.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was good.
He was good, but he was a little too like articulate for me. He was like, "You're a
was
good
too easy
pilot,
to
buddy." He's like,
understand.
he's just going straight. You know, like he's like, you really are a good pilot. Like, come on. You know, like,
You really are a great swordsman.
There was some like, yeah. We'll go to it.
I mean, I liked what the character, especially those initial scenes. That I felt this is where I feel like there's a little bit of a difference in how I perceive Rogue One, and this is that the side characters that are supposed to like be feeding us little kind of emotional things to latch onto and push us forward towards a theme or goal or whatever for the movie. I felt like in this movie, the performances of those little characters at the start to initiate this idea that Han shouldn't trust anybody, that he's supposed to only be out for himself and go for the score, and like we should like this. It's this little group, and I shouldn't trust anybody, and like really think about myself before anybody else. Like that is something that comes up later. It doesn't play through super great for his character. Where the whole movie he seems to be making selfless decision after selfless
Which is
decision.
not Han Solo.
Not Han
It doesn't
Solo.
build to like where we start with him later. So
Even Endgame Han Solo wasn't like that.
in that regard,
but I think go ahead.
in that regard, I feel like they didn't do it perfectly, but I felt like the characters around him the pieces were right, and they were giving the lines that were right. I don't think they really pushed Han Solo through to that direction.
That's true, but couldn't care less about him, about those characters. Like, it was, they died. We didn't get a chance to know them.
Really? Oh my God!
Bye.
All right, I didn't know this. So, well, I don't know if you guys either of you watch The Wire?
No.
The show The Wire.
I did not.
Okay, never mind. I guess the original actor that was supposed to be Paul Bettany's character had to drop out for like another, and it would have been a much better character, much more intimidating
Who's
person.
Paul Bettany?
He was the crime syndicate,
Okay.
Scarface.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Vision.
thought I loved the original team. Is where I would like. To
I
call
did, and I think, unfortunately, I think it took away though. I think you didn't need him.
Well, yeah. Ultimately, they didn't. I wish they would have kept the team around much longer
Yeah,
and
make
not
them needed.
right, and not in like I feel like Lando. I was thinking about this. Did they need Lando in the movie?
no.
The only reason they needed Lando was because they wanted the Millennium Falcon.
Put Lando on the team.
And that's where I think what they should have done is kept people alive, maybe kill the pilot, but then have Lando, like they need a ship, like their ship is broken, and then they just bring Lando in, and not the robot. L3, I'm not on board for it. Yeah, I didn't like L3.
Oh my God.
I know some people
We
would
thought
have
Jar
really
Jar
liked
Banks
it.
was bad. Oh my God, Aaron, you
Aaron would have.
Elaborate.
oh my.
It's the robot prison riot because
That was a funny idea, but her character was so.
she's just all in on robot
There she
independence
is.
and freedom and
Robots don't think for themselves.
Yeah,
well,
but
this
it's like
movie
equal
posits.
rights.
This movie posits and creates. They showed little devices on all the droids that basically allow
The
people to
restraining
control
bolts,
them. Yeah,
which is in Star Wars lore.
right. And so they wanted to focus again on the restraining bolts and really show that like if you take those out, they really have independent
But
thought.
it,
and stuff.
it was
Yeah.
very, for lack of a better word, SJW of the robot. You know,
SJW. Oh, social justice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a robot. I mean, they're trying to make an It's not. How's it? Wait, how is it that at all?
equal rights for the robots. It was kind of playing on to what's going on now, like with the equal rights for women and equal rights for this stuff. It was getting a little political for a Star Wars movie for me.
But Star Wars was always political.
Yeah, I mean,
No, that was a prequels.
But they happened first canonically.
Yeah, but it was about Hitler and the alt right. No, but I'm saying it was eye rolling. It wasn't even funny, and her like
No.
there's nothing. Like, it would have
So
been
many
fun,
other movies have covered human rights issues.
but
in different
if
things
they,
like
if they
that.
would have made it
they
written
tried
better,
to really
it would
force
have
it
been funny.
in Last Jedi.
But that's why I think like, and also they're doing the same formula with Rogue One. They're having a robot to try to be comic relief, but they did better in Rogue One. But it's like do something different. You know, we don't need a robot.
It wasn't very good.
You
Have
have
also-
Chewie.
Have another alien creature
Well, it also was
that
like
gets enslaved and have like if there's this Chewie's enslaved, or have some other creature that works with Lando that's an intelligent creature that's not a robot, but maybe the cyborg or something that doesn't have equal rights, or something. Some of the creatures is a slave, and you can still do that message. It's just like
none of it didn't. The message almost doesn't even matter, especially because they abandoned it at the very
and they
start.
made a farce of it.
Well, yeah, that's the point. Like this, it really didn't play through, especially if you're not going to go forward with the idea that Han was a child slave. Basically, you would think that would be part of like a mini arc for the movie, is that he kind of helps the slaves escape, but nope, that doesn't come back. Instead, L3's death is like all of a sudden like a big Lando moment. It's like, what? He cares about his
but
droid.
People laughed in the theater when I watched it.
Yeah, because it was ridiculous.
But I don't think that was their intent.
No, probably not. I liked that scene. I thought it was good. They just didn't give us any reason to
they didn't execute it to build up right. Whereas everybody was like, oh no, when the robot from Rogue One died.
Oh no.
Because everybody loved that robot.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
No, but everybody did. Everybody thought, oh no, like it was.
Well, that movie had like a common theme of sacrifice. This movie was just kind of like characters kind of being selfless, even though we're supposed to say that they're not. And
you're right. You're right.
It was kind of weird. That was something where I felt like they didn't need L3. They should have developed Lando a little bit more. And I actually don't think they should have shown. I liked the gambling scenes, but if I was taking a step back and thinking about what are all the things that would need to happen to make the movie a little bit better, I would have pushed, especially anticipating a second movie, I would have pushed Han getting the Millennium Falcon by himself into the next one, and just show a little bit more between Lando and Han.
I think it would have been a funny heist movie if they tried to steal the Millennium Falcon from Lando.
That would have been awesome.
Lando.
I thought I would have said like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I would have laughed.
A heist for the Millennium Falcon would be
I would have laughed like crazy because I thought this was what they were doing. So he's going into he went to this
the little card play.
The junkyard place to go into the
he was locked in.
The pounded.
Yeah, it was
place.
impounded.
I thought he's just stealing this. This is not even his ship. He's just going to steal it.
They booted my Falcon,
which would have been funnier and better. I would have loved it.
That would have been fun.
But then they couldn't have the robe joke. With his robes.
You know that that in that scene there has to be like one of those giant auto boots on the Millennium Falcon.
I guess you're right.
They might have.
They had a chain.
I don't remember.
They had like a chain to it.
Yeah, they had to get
the
something
boot's
off.
funnier.
Not a boot. Put it on the okay, just fly off with it. But the scene where she was like, "Turn away! I can't do this when you're looking." That was stolen from a game, from another robot. Another robot goes and tries to open a gate, and I forget what game it is, and it's like, "Go away! Turn away!" I'm serious. I can't it was like totally ripped off from that, but executed better.
The
which I thought was funny, but it's just like
I do feel like they did all of the so you could definitely argue that so in the span of a week's time, like there's this big 3-year jump from the start of the movie to then what
like
happens
Rogue One.
in the rest.
It's like Rogue One. The bad thing about Rogue One is like, oh, she's an adult now.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Come on.
So this is like basically the events of the movie happen in a week, maybe, but it's like everything you needed to know about Han for the most part. Like a lot of those the big questions, at least, of the Kessel Run, the meeting Chewie,
which nobody cared.
A lot of those,
Chewie, maybe.
Those just are all like, here's everything all right here. And that's fine. I thought they did each of those well. I thought the Kessel Run scene was pretty cool. I thought the fact that doing the Han shot first and only.
So I was
that
right.
Was amazing.
So I was right.
He did.
That was the whole movie. That was the whole movie.
And that actually
cool.
tried to save a lot of the fails of not trusting people and all this. Like the things that I was like, oh, they didn't do that perfectly. And then they kind of tried to, in a really good scene at the end, they brought it together.
Can we talk about the Kessel Run?
Sure.
It's 12 parsecs, right?
Which is a meter of distance, which is distance, not how fast something goes.
And they worked in the.
Here's the problem with that.
Okay.
How can the Millennium Falcon be the fastest ship in the galaxy, and all it did for the Kessel Run was just take a shortcut? How can
did it take a shortcut?
That's what it did. It went through the.
That's the whole concept of doing it in 12 parsecs.
The 12 parsecs. It wasn't because of how fast it was. It was because we're going to go through this storm thing. Think about it.
Well, they went through the storm, but they had the coaxium in the fuel that was like, it ignited it, and it was like a super risky thing to do.
That's true, but it was faster to go through the storm than go through the tunnels. Which he boasts how fast his ship is. Doesn't mean his ship is faster than anything. And they say it's a fast ship, and it really is a fast ship in the lore, but it's really not. It's equivalent to me going on a marathon. I think I heard this before, and taking a shortcut and say I'm the fastest.
Well, right, yeah.
But I took a shortcut.
It's because
I didn't run the same distance.
As Brandon says, it's because he's a rogue and a braggart. Like that actually reflects his character.
Yeah,
like
but
that he's going to brag about something that's not totally true.
Yeah, but forget that. But the Millennium Falcon is supposed to be the fastest ship in the fleet.
It's supposed to be based on what?
Based on Return of the Jedi, when they say it's the fastest ship in the fleet. I want you to take her.
Does he say that?
He says it, but everybody assumes it. You assume that it is. It's nothing to do. It is.
Wouldn't you argue that it is why wouldn't we say it's not the fastest?
Because
what evidence are we given in the movie to say it's not faster than any other ship?
Because
it escapes at every turn.
Because the first thing it says is the Kessel Run. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you just took a shortcut in the marathon.
That's not exemplary of its speed.
They also very clearly show that it got supercharged really, really fast because of a risky maneuver, like with the fuel.
Yeah, but that nothing like that. They don't have that fuel later.
Okay. Yeah. So it could be the fastest ship, and then it went extra fast.
How can you argue this? How can you you have no leg to stand on?
What are you talking about? I'm arguing that it's still a very fast ship, and that his bragging also
But it's not a fast ship though. If they took a shortcut.
So the Kessel Run is the only example we have of fast.
I'm saying in every other case it escapes. So even if we take this one scene out of it, every other case that we've seen the Millennium Falcon is it is faster than the other ships. So done. Why is the fact that when it goes even extra fast an example that it is not the fastest?
But it didn't go extra fast. That's the whole point.
Okay,
it went through the
irrelevant then. That's what I'm saying. Even get rid of that scene. It is still, we could say, based on all evidence, that it is the fastest ship.
I guess my whole point is that I wish there was something they maybe had the fuel, maybe it did something different that they actually.
I thought I thought that's what the whole scene was about. That the fuel was the reason it made it through.
It was because they took the shortcut. I think if they would,
I would need to watch it again because I don't think that was really the intent.
it was.
It was.
Either way, I think this is a hard thing. So if you're going to get hung up on this as something that is a major, is this a major problem?
No.
Okay, then we can move on.
I'm just saying. Like, think about it. We want this. The ship has such lore. Let's just make it the speed of it faster. There's something they do to make the feed.
But then that steps on the 12 parsecs thing.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, but you can. You're right. You're right.
They have to fit the lore.
Yeah, it's all George Lucas's fault for
that one flub.
Quantifying and distance, not time.
Guys, what's a parsec?
Oh, give me a parsec. I'll tell you.
I'll have a parsec.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Yeah, I feel like
Millennium Falcon fastest ship.
I've said most of the stuff. I loved all the scenes in the Millennium Falcon. I thought that was really fun. I liked that they put somebody in the gunner seat. I liked
again
the callback.
Yeah, we see it. Yeah.
You mean that thing that they always do?
And it gets break, and they play the
That's part of the ship. Yeah. That's part of the reason we're here. That's part of it, and it's nice and clean.
Asteroids.
They did the thing.
This is like the asteroids. The Empire Strikes Back. I love that movie.
But you know that if they did something completely different,
right.
we'd be like, why didn't they do the asteroids?
Luke doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
Luke has a schnoz too.
What? Luke looks old. He's not old.
He's forever young.
The last thing I would bring up really is that
Why didn't they do the asteroids?
Go, man.
They made an asteroid out of me.
Stop us while you can.
while I thought I didn't think Kira's the Amelia Clark's performance was all that bad. I wasn't the biggest fan of her character arc and like this kind of up and down nature of like, is she helping? Is she intentionally sabotaging? Like what? And it was kind of a back and forth, which was fine. But then they ultimately ended up as she wants to be an important player in this crime syndicate that I didn't feel really like was grounded in anything.
No, it was very like Saturday Night Live skit. Oh, okay.
And also the star or the guest star is here to be in the skit.
Yeah,
There they are.
Then the other part that was kind of like up and down that wasn't like totally. It was just kind of in the background until the very end. Again, was the like kind of pirates that were there. Like you think that they are, like really like creepy. like bounty hunters or something. Like they're playing into this pirate theme, which would have been really cool to really explore.
Maybe it's just me, Matt, but I feel like giving Han Solo a love interest in a prequel where you know that he's going to be with somebody else in the other movies. You know it's not going to work out.
Yeah. And I'm very susceptible to go along with stuff like that. The thing here was that while I liked that she twisted the knife at the end and like betrayed him in some regard, and that can, again, they kind of fixed all of the things that were through the movie. I didn't feel like it was like a big enough payoff at the end to really solidify why Han Solo is the way he is in the other movies. Like, it was like, we're gonna fix everything at the very end real fast.
Quick, get the Band-Aids.
All right, you can cut to Ben.
You know what this movie's missing?
He did it again.
It's missing 5 minutes of Darth Vader being a badass. And it would have made it better.
What are you, a producer now?
Yeah. More Darth Vader, see?
Matt is unamused.
He's not even looking at me.
I'm having conversations
Look
with
at this
people
joke.
because we're talking about Darth Vader in a Han Solo movie.
You got charisma, kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Forget that Darth Maul character. Give it to me. Oh. Oh.
One frame.
Smoke. Darth Vader.
So where I was going, this is just basically like the Pirates, Marauders characters. Like, it would have been fun to see them being like brutal pirates, but then they just, instead of like even giving them like bad people context, like giving bad people reasons for us to like them, like Han Solo, like a Han Solo character, or Lando, like these are not perfect individuals and people who've done bad things that we grow to like. I wish they would have done the same with the pirates. Instead, it was more like, at least the way I interpreted it, I know maybe I'm going the wrong way, is that they were like really good people who wanted to start the rebellion the whole time, and like that just felt kind of like a rug pull to me.
I don't
So
like that
anyway,
either.
all right. What other thoughts do you have, Ben?
We needed more dark side, see? More uniforms. No, I think you're right. No, I'll elaborate on this. I think you're right. I think you're right about here. I think you're right about. I think you're right about Kira's character, and like what you said, Aaron, was a good point. Was like, she's not going to like be around. It's like, well, maybe put her in more danger. You know,
Maybe
we know
work harder to make me care.
We'll make her care, but also like what's going to happen to her. You know, like because we don't want her to die, or you know, show some more risk on that instead of showing Chewie being saved at the last minute. Or like, he's going to live.
We know Chewie's gonna live.
What a waste of special effects.
But
I think they could have explored more in that character, more that love story. You know, it's just
Yeah.
And then I think they had too many characters.
Yeah,
That seems to be a trend.
That's an issue. That's the same issue I had with Rogue One. It's the same with, Last Jedi started with all the Force Awakens characters and then added even more without kind of doing it.
Well, the thing about the last Jedi, like the only characters they added really, they had addition to subscribe.
They were dead weight anyway.
Well, like they should have added, like in Empire Strikes Back, they had a Yoda and basically
Boba Fett.
no, a Yoda and
Bosk.
Lando, basically two other characters. Whereas this, they killed off Han, they added Luke back, but they didn't.
for The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, they just needed to develop the characters they have.
Well, the thing about Solo, I think, that was successful was some of the characters, from my opinion, as a difference from others, is that this set up new characters that I liked and wanted to hear. I wanted more of that rather than they were kind of dead weight.
Yeah.
Or like, even if they were cool, these didn't feel like superficial characters just to be there. They felt like they could have really been interesting.
If
to
they were
see more of.
inserted in Rogue One, you would have liked Rogue One better. Probably.
Much better. Oh, much
because
better.
they got more time in Rogue One. They were given more.
And they were
more
flat.
and they were more important.
Yeah.
But I think that the serious tone of Rogue One is what they were trying to go for. But here's another problem I had. Like, so when they tried to get the train, this train stuff. It's like, well, now we got to report to this guy. Like, well, where is he? We'll see him. And he just flies in. And it's like,
You will know.
Aren't the Empire like looking for the people who sabotage the train on this planet, but you're going to fly in a big giant barge? That was dumb.
It's real interesting that you're nitpicking the dumb stuff after our Rogue One podcast.
Oh, come on. There really wasn't
interesting.
But there really wasn't a lot of dumb stuff in Rogue One. I think you just were just so animate about it.
Okay.
It's like,
I think that you were just completely emotional and you needed to take your pills.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I heard from you, Ben.
Question for us, if we want to do it.
Oh, yeah,
The
I'll do it.
Maul twist. Are we down for either a Maul trilogy or sequel?
No.
Or a sequel featuring
I
Maul?
like Maul, and I'd rather see Maul than Han Solo. I actually think either make an Obi-Wan Kenobi with Maul in it, Obi-Wan Kenobi movie with Maul in it, or just do it. And just call it this. I told you. Just do a Darth Vader versus Darth Maul movie. That's what you got to do. Have them interact. We know who's going to win.
We all know it worked out for Freddie and Jason.
I'm definitely on board with the Maul movie, especially seeing how the thing is, again, I wish, speaking of how worthless Paul Bettany was, like why wouldn't it just be Maul, or would be a mysterious figure that gets revealed?
Which worked for Rogue One, having Darth Vader in it.
Like, why not do it that way? And why not give us more reason to latch on to the syndicate, or this crime syndicate, as contrast to the Empire? And like, maybe they're working together,
Well,
but like, give us some of that versus just, this is a random bad thing and isn't connected to anything.
Here's a cool idea. Here's how you connect it. You have Maul, instead of the stupid centipede lady, you have an underling who's kind of like the centipede lady, who Maul eventually like
Are you going with Human Centipede, a Star Wars story?
yeah.
Diarrhea. Virginia.
Everybody's in bikini. Human Centipede.
but so have
Wookie nipple pinchy.
which would have been a cooler setup than Darth Maul's in this movie, rather than like there's a shadow figure in the background
Yeah.
who's recruiting all these young kids, enslaving them,
I'm
and
putting
then
together a team.
slowly like building up Han Solo and the other character, and like maybe he gets out and
Yeah.
joins the Empire, and then then you realize, oh my God, it's Darth Maul the whole time.
To me, this is just like
It would have been better.
it's another case of like pacing. Even though this movie felt like it stretched to get to the 2 hours, in my opinion, it didn't feel like it was overstuffed. It felt like it was stretching to it, but simultaneously it was like,
Yeah.
there's so many characters and we're moving and moving. Like, why not either shorten it and compress it, or like strip out characters and let things develop a little bit more?
I was bored at parts. It didn't have good pacing. It was like, action, 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 and then
I didn't think it was there were parts that were boring. I liked the longer scenes, and I thought like most of the set action sequences and the Millennium Falcon chases or the train heist or whatever, like I felt like those all were really fun.
yeah.
It was just kind of, when you're doing just like kind of fun over and over and over, and like the characters are pretty good, and like you're just kind of moving along, and you're never given, there's not like in this movie, what's the oh wow scene? I can't really think of one. It was just kind of like, this was pretty fun. That was it.
Kind of a ride.
That was pretty good.
One thing I noticed, because if they wanted this to be more lighthearted, they didn't know where they wanted it to be, because I think they should have just went like the Guardians of the Galaxy approach of lightheartedness.
This was the next. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to ask, where do we think? It's kind of like the Ant-Man Edgar Wright question: is what the movie would have been with the original directors.
I think it would have been a better movie. But I think they were just too afraid of too much deviation. of
Has
what they
Ron
wanted to do.
Howard lost it?
No, he didn't. It's not his fault.
no,
He just
no.
came in and cleaned it up. Like, he was just a safe director. He did the best job he could. Like, he was just like, okay, we can control him.
You can't control Ron Howard.
But one thing I want to say that this point before you interrupted me, Matt, about your point.
So Brandon has a question.
Okay, wait.
Let's do it to Ben now. I'm sick of it happening to me.
Could you just get a little closer in that microphone, please?
I can get really close.
No. What do you want to decide to be? Do you want to be funny? And I think they wanted to be funny and lighthearted, but didn't
Did they, or did you want it to be that way, and then you were disappointed?
I did no. I didn't know what they wanted to do, but I think they're trying to be funny with Lando. The marketing was all like colorful and stuff. The marketing was good. I liked the marketing, how like everything was just colors: blue, red, yellow. All these different colors. But the way it was shot, it was dark, and like it was really poorly lit. And I thought there was a problem with the projection. And so I thought maybe, well, why don't you make it vibrant? Make it vibrant, make it light their face so I can see them. It was bad lighting.
I
Very
didn't
bad.
have a problem with the lighting.
Of course, you don't have a problem with lighting.
Because
Have you seen your work lately?
It's dark. It's real dark. I like a lot of shadow.
But
I'm in a
it's not
dark
just
place.
shadow; it's just flat darkness. It's like everything was in silhouette. It wasn't like film noir. It wasn't even a choice. It was just like, oh, let's just make this blue.
Oh, I thought it was fine.
Really? No, I think it was a big problem.
it's pretty
I think I wasn't the only one either.
You don't think that's nitpicking? Is the blue filter? In the
No, I
movie?
don't think I was nitpicking. I think it messed with me because I thought there was a problem with the projection.
I actually have a problem with filters in general because you have all these Blu-ray remasters of classic movies and they're completely graded differently. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Light their faces.
They really
Oh.
screwed up Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray.
Here's a line that was fun, or here's a moment that was funny. That Lando was writing his autobiography. That was funny. I thought that was really funny.
I don't remember it.
Say again.
He was just sitting there.
How'd it go?
He was just on the ship while they were doing the mission, and it was like
yeah,
they
that was-
intercut it, and he was writing his autobiography. He was just dictating it.
That was funny.
It was pretty funny, like
was
just showing
funny.
it how
that
self-absorbed
was funny,
he was.
but like I wanted to laugh more, and I think they tried to make us laugh more, but it just didn't land. Like the rock thing. That's a rock.
What rock thing? What do you?
Instead of a thermal detonator, he goes, that's the rock, and you made the noise. Like it's like what is this? The Office? it's not even funny. Like they didn't deliver it right. You know,
The
like, that's what
Office is funny.
But I'm saying like
Yeah, I think that could have landed with better direction. That first scene really was bad. I'm curious where that came in and who was in charge of it and what the reshoot order was. Like that first, like the chase to escape was kind of cool to see the world and the dogs, and like that was really cool to show them leaving that little compound or whatever.
yeah.
But just the parts leading up to
But
that,
you know,
I was a
makes
little
sense. If
disappointed.
that's an
with.
empire, like that's where they build the ships, the Karelian ships, the big Star Destroyers. How come the Empire how come there's crime in that city? Like the Empire could like control
Well,
that.
they're supporting each other. They're supporting
Really?
the crime. Yeah.
Big, okay, I didn't know
That was the whole thing. It was like the syndicate is
Supporting
in cahoots
both,
with them. Yeah.
and the other
Right.
and the bad guy and the Darth Maul factions.
Okay. Aaron, how would you rate the movie?
I would give it a 5. Interesting little note here.
You're really gonna keep going. Okay.
No, I have a little note. I remembered thinking to myself, man, if George Lucas was in charge, this movie never would have happened. George Lucas started writing this movie in 2012. So it would have happened
Yeah, but
anyway.
it might have been better.
It might have not.
I'm pretty sure George Lucas was involved with this movie. They
He
brought
at
him
least
in.
started
No,
it.
he said he had a few advice.
He
that-
at the very least he started the writing.
And it was written by Kasdan, so it's
Yeah,
like it had
good.
original cred.
Yeah, but he's over the hill. I wish he would have written the Last Jedi, but no, I don't know.
So Ben, what is your rating?
I think a
and
5
takeaway.
too. A 5. And I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't mind that it was a small.
Watch
movie.
it like it's an episode of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think if it was an episode of Clone Wars, I would have rated higher. But I don't mind it's a smaller movie. I love smaller little movie. That wasn't my complaint. I just was this thing. It was a mess. It was just clunky and a mess. And I don't like the way it was lit. It was really badly lit.
It stinks.
It was too dark. I didn't like the fact that who are you with? I'm with no one. Okay, I'm gonna call you Solo. Your last name. That was dumb. How about just Han Solo? Like we don't need, There's one thing I like about. I think he's an overrated director, but I think J.J. Abrams' mystery box idea, which he uses as a gimmick, I think you got to use it for the audience to fill in the gaps of things. But don't tell us everything. Don't explain everything.
That's
Leave that
why
mystery.
we shouldn't have had the movie.
No, but in Star Trek 2, as Matt is listening, cut to Matt.
Yep.
Look at that. Look how he listens.
Look at that face.
In Star Trek 2, Ricardo Montalban chose different things for his characters to do, and he undraped himself, and he took his glove off, but he left one glove on. Why did he do that? We don't know. Is his hand deformed? Why is there one glove on?
He's the six-fingered man.
We don't need to know that, but that adds so much intrigue to the character.
So your point is that more overall point is that the movie was pointless to make at all.
Yes.
So what about Rogue One?
I think
Less pointless.
I think no.
So it had a point, but my whole problem was that the point and their success in doing it was totally wrong.
No, I think it wasn't. I don't think the whole movie was pointless to make. I think some of the things that they did, like let's have some intrigue and mystery. I'd be curious to know Han Solo's past, but let's not do the Kessel Run and things like that. You know what I mean? Let's save that for later, or maybe that could have been a second movie or whatever. I don't know. I just think they should take their time. Like it was everything happened too fast for the sake of it. Like the Kessel Run.
How else are we gonna get Boba Fett in before the year's out?
I don't know. No, but I think Rogue One wasn't as pointless as you think, even though a lot of people think that. I think the sacrifice mentality, showing the serious nature of it, was I really liked, of how bad the Empire is and how bad these people have it, and how you had this other group of people no one even cared about that died to do this, and like how they weren't in vain. You mean and that, which is harkens back to a lot of true war movies, and I think it was believable of like the casualties that they had in many different war movies, many different real wars that happened. That they got these plans, but it was for a cost. But the greater good prevailed, and I think that was more interesting, and there was more stakes and more.
Gosh, I wish I had applause at the ready for this. I don't.
You may, yeah. Well.
But you know what I mean.
I mean, if you, I could relitigate that all over again. The thing about this movie that I do agree with you, there weren't serious stakes. I think there's slightly more, just in the sense that the performances of the side characters in this I thought were much better. So the fact that spoiler, if at this point if you're afraid of spoilers,
Darth Maul's in it.
The thing like. The fact that Beckett dies, Woody Harrelson, like that scene, like feels a little bit different. That he's gonna get, obviously he's gonna.
What's his first name?
Something's gonna happen.
What's his first name?
I don't know. Something Beckett. Might have even been Beckett something. I don't know.
Let me look.
Like so, the stakes aren't super high. It's more like telling a story, and that's just built into the premise of what this was. And maybe they could have come up with something else. I don't know, something a little bit better. I think this movie clearly had some faults in terms of how much they built into Han and some of the moments to get us to where we know him as like a scoundrel character. I think they had opportunities to do that a little bit better. But overall, I thought
I don't even think he had an arc to be a scoundrel yet.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is that they didn't set it up
No,
very
I mean,
well.
I would have been okay if he's a scoundrel, but maybe he's the one who betrays somebody. Maybe that's like
Yeah,
he had to do that.
Yeah. So
Ooh, something I
that
didn't
said, I thought his performance was fine. I loved Chewbacca. I loved all of the big, like it was a very fun movie.
But did you see Chewbacca fly over that one line when he goes?
Yeah, he really.
Yeah, it's like, oh, could we get a retake on that?
Yeah, he really got to enunciate.
Yeah, come on,
enunciate.
Chewie. Stop chewing while you're. That's why I got the nickname.
The thing where I liked this so much was that it didn't ruin anything about Star Wars for me. It just gave me some answers to some stuff that's kind of fun to know about. I know you like we could say that we could have spread it out across 2 movies, but we're already having fatigue on Star Wars, so like I get the reason
this
why.
This was like
they
Babe
crammed.
2 to me. It ruined Babe 1. It's like, no.
You can
What did
never
this
ruin
ruin?
Babe 1.
It ruined the lore of Han Solo.
It didn't
like,
ruin anything.
I don't
Just
think
ignore it.
I don't think it ruined anything. I would agree. I would
Well,
argue Rogue
all right.
One ruined stuff. I don't think this ruined.
I
it.
would
Neither
argue
of
the
them ruined
opposite.
anything. You
I
can
would
always
argue the
ignore
opposite.
their existence.
Wrong.
So
Kofefe.
you said 5 out of. I didn't say my rating.
I think
I would
it's
say
5.
it's probably like 6.5.
You don't get halves. You don't get halves.
I would say it's a 6.
Integers.
Which I said Rogue One was a 6.
6.2.
So I would say they're both kind of 6s. I would probably, like I said, I would give this one just without anything a little bit better.
I would watch Rogue One again,
But
I will
with-
never watch this again.
Okay. The thing about this one was that with Rogue One, so much of the other Star Wars stuff and nostalgia and personal bias made me knock it down to like a 4. This one, I would knock it up to like a 7. If I'm taking into bias, I would knock it up. So
Well, we're gonna take a bias, and Rogue One's a 7.
oh, darn. Shots fired.
I don't know. I wouldn't recommend people seeing this.
he shot first. You saw it.
Did you see that? Cut to that.
You threw it
I
at
threw
me.
the cigarette at him.
There.
All right.
Oh, come on, you keep cutting to me.
Sorry, I don't know what to do.
back to All right, ready?
This is really good podcasting. It's
And
a
go.
total visual
There
effect.
you go.
Okay,
Great.
wonderful.
I'm gonna
I'm
throw the
glad we
phone.
did that.
I'm gonna throw the phone now.
Just throw a brick. Okay. We've got. We have no idea what we're doing next week.
Yeah, Ben's gonna be gone.
Ben's
so
going
we're
to be gone. We're going to have to come up with something.
I'm going
the
to
heart
this
and
fun.
soul of the group. We'll
So
going
next
to
week
the Syndicate.
we'll be doing Harry and the Hendersons next week.
That'd be
Yeah.
perfect, actually.
Yeah.
We'll get comments
You
from
haven't
him.
seen me like walking away. See, we don't want you to do this pod anymore. Can't you see we don't want you anymore?
All right, we're
Play
done.
the Hulk music.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, wonderful.
Hello.